So this one time, me and my mum were going for a walk around this big pond there is near my house. It was early spring, so the ducks that were in this pond had just gotten their tiny ducklings. As we were walking, we happened to see two of them. Two tiny ones. They could have been more like a few days old, and they were by themselves. And we thought that was kind of weird, because why is it doing by themselves? It should be with its mother. But we just standing there like in awe, because you know, tiny ducklings are really cute. Really cute. And then after a minute or so, this duck came along, and we were just like, yay! Its mother's here! So this duck swims up to one of these ducklings and grabs a hold of its neck and pushes it under the water. So me and my mum were just like, what's happening? And the other little duck is just like swimming away, squeaking for its life. And this little duck never surfaced again. We just looked at each other. We just had nothing to say. It's like we witnessed a murder that day.
So when I was a kid, like 12, 13, 14, I spent a lot of time fishing with my uncle on his fishing boat. And he had this big red pullover, which I think he bought with proof of purchase from Marlboro packs because he was a smoker at the time. And I loved it. It wasn't fashionable, but it was warm and it was cuddly, and I loved it, and I used to borrow it from him all the time until eventually I kind of acquired it. I stole it, and he was always asking for it back. So for Christmas one year, I wrapped a box in a box in a box, and in the inside of the smallest box, I didn't put the pullover, I put an IOU for the pullover. Then, 3 months later, it was my birthday, and he brought me this big, heavy box. Not wanting to be taken for a complete rube, I did ask him, is this like a box in a box thing? And he's like, no, it's your real present is in there, and you're actually really gonna like it. I'm trying not to get too excited, but I'm getting kind of excited because it's a big heavy box, like what could it be? And when I finally did open it, it was a big, heavy, rusty, dirty car rotor. But underneath the car rotor, inside of a plastic case, was a brand new fishing license. And he's right, I loved it. It was a fantastic gift. But I felt like a complete idiot. I kind of deserved it though.
A few years ago, I was eating a slice of pizza at a bar in North Portland, and I was rocking my short, Natalie Portman circa 2006 haircut that most of the time these days seemed to be passing for just a badass, totally intentional haircut that I gave myself on purpose to be edgy and cool. And this guy comes up to me, and he's like a tough looking rocker kind of guy with a face tattoo. I think he was a friend of mine. And he says, hey, I saw one of your videos online. Don't worry, this isn't about to get weird. I say, oh, thanks for watching. That's really cool. And now I know that this particular tattooed gentleman knows a lot more about me than the average stranger. This happens sometimes because while I had cancer, I made a series of videos about it on the internet. And then he tells me that he had this crazy skin fungus parasite thing that was eating his flesh and causing all of these welts, and he had to go to the hospital. And I'm still eating my pizza, by the way. But we have this conversation. Two people that have never really met, one of whom really needs to talk to somebody, and apparently I'm qualified because I had cancer. But it's nice, in a weird way. It's refreshing to remember that even though we live in our isolated little bubbles, people do still want to connect. And they want to talk about real things. They want to talk about their feelings and their fears and their fungal issues. Right after I started remission, I was uniquely positioned to have a lot of these conversations with friends and complete strangers alike, because once you do something like post videos of yourself pants down in your doctor's office for anyone on the internet to see, you become something of a go-to source for TMI conversations. What's weird is that now it's been a few years and my hair has grown back, and the average person on the street is never going to identify me as a survivor. What had quickly become the most identifiable fact about me had transformed just as quickly into an invisible secret that was awkward to bring up with new people who didn't already know me during that stage of my life. Like a month ago now, my cool stoner roommate asked me why I own a vaporizer when I don't even smoke pot. And I casually said, oh, I used to use it back when I had cancer. And her face just fell instantly, and she stared at me. You had cancer? What's horribly awkward about the whole thing is that she had a friend of hers who had just died of cancer a week before that. And I had said something to the effect of, I'm here if you want to talk. I know a lot about this kind of stuff. ... But apparently she had no idea what I meant by that. So now here she was, devastated by her own much more recent traumatic life event, and suddenly learning all of this information about me. And meanwhile, I'm feeling this strange confusion of realizing that I have crossed some threshold where now I'm so far removed from my own cancer experience that people that live in the same house as me have no idea that I went through it. And that, my friends, is the lesson that we all will learn someday, if we're lucky.
Hi, my name is Leslie. Thank you so much for watching a very special episode of One Time Stories. If you did not know, this episode was actually inspired by Emma Mills, aka Elma Phi, on YouTube's first novel, First and Then. What I ended up doing was actually reading the advanced reader's copy of First and Then writing down some themes that I saw resonated throughout the entire book, and then picked one and people ran with it. I'm really proud of Emma. This book is very good. It's not out yet. It'll be out in mid-October. In the description down below, you'll find a pre-order link for the book, as well as Mike Martin's book review for First and Then. Keep an eye out on social media for the next open call for the next few episodes of One Time Stories. I'd love to have you involved. Thanks. See you later.